Welcome. We officially called the meeting of the Ware Board of Selectmen to order this evening at 6:31 PM on Monday, August 12th, 2024. We started with a non-public session for the purposes of interviewing a potential DPW employee. And then we used the additional couple minutes that we had and did a non-public regarding a legal update. So if you'll please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We're ready for public comment, and whoever comes up first, if you'll just make sure that the green button's pushed.
If it's lit up, it's pushed?
Yes. Thank
Okay,
you.
thanks. I'm Brenda Lashway, Buxton School Road. I'm just here to alert you, some of you may know, I know Ms. Matthews was at the last zoning board meeting, so she knows. At some point, there's a proposed pond for Buxton School Road, and it'll be coming onto your agenda. Proposal, because there's a proposal to truck out large quantities of fill, 500 truckloads, upwards of 40 tons per truck. The yet-to-be-made access road and Buxton School Road, which is a dirt road. The road issues haven't been discussed at any of the previous committee meetings or anything so far because their focus has been on the pond itself. So that's all. Just, it'll be coming down the pike, I guess, as things squirrel their way through the process. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your heads up.
Rick Capel, Quaker Street, just looking for follow-up from the last meeting with my comments. I sent you guys an email. As requested, just looking for some follow-up.
I have that on discussion for other business this evening.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Good evening, Richard Buck. Last year, some of you know, we were regarding demolition, we shot approximately $27,000. $27,000 of fees weren't collected when they should have been to cover the cost of disposal. We were never given a reason as to why that happened, but I hope the board has taken some action to make sure it won't happen again. I have a report from the finance director. I'm assuming you have it as well. It's a monthly report, and it shows that we're $5,000 short in collecting fees for demolition, including bulk items. It's an aggregate. Bulk items and demolition material is a number, and that number represents in total a deficit of $5,000. Now, compared to last year, $27,000, it may seem good, but it isn't. Compare it to the prior years. And I hope the trend isn't moving in that direction, and I'm hoping there's some corrective action being taken down there, and I'm just wondering if the board is even aware of it. Okay, thanks.
Tom Clough, 125 Concord Stage Road. Just a follow-up to the speaker concerning the transfer station. And this is not an accusation or anything, it's just an observation. But oftentimes, we're asked if we want a receipt. And I think it would be good policy just to give everybody a receipt, because then everything would be going through the cash register, and there wouldn't be any question about it. So I know if I bring down a demo or something, they'll say, do you want a receipt? And a lot of times I'll say, no, I don't need a receipt, because nothing I would do with it. But I think it would just be good business practice to just always give a receipt for the records. Thank you. Frank Campana, Quaker Street. Back, my list of things to be before you, but only one tonight, of course. Back on July 8th, I have a copy of the minutes. I wasn't at the meeting, but I tune in off and on periodically through the meeting. So I was listening to the fire chief, I guess he's the chief. He was speaking, and he touched upon the fire department apparently needs a new compressor to fill air tanks. I get that. And he had mentioned several times about having located, the old one can't be fixed anymore, it's out of date. Okay. So apparently he has his eye on one. I don't know if it's still being held for the town. He brought it before you. But at that meeting on the 8th, he spoke to that, and the electrical system in the fire station can't take that compressor, because that compressor, it doesn't say it in the minutes. So I guess I could be wrong. I didn't go to the YouTube. But he brought up the fact that the compressor that he has an eye on is a three-phase compressor. It's not one you just plug into the wall, you know, with a 230 amp or, 20 amp. I'm not an electrician. So anyway, he contacted an electrician, and it was going to be, I'll read it here. The estimate for the, Chief Roderick spoke to the board about the estimate for the electrical system for the air compressor. And again, this is the one that is perhaps slated for him to purchase, or the town to purchase. And that estimate was $6,600. Again, I'm pretty sure it had been mentioned at least a couple of times about a three-phase. So the electrician, the electrician was questioned about why it was so expensive. And the electrician mentioned there were some shortcuts taken when the building was in. And I remember specifically, the chief said, well, you can't, the electrical panel, you can't even plug a lamp into it. Well, that's a long ways from three-phase. But my point and my comment tonight, it would be interesting to find out, the compressor seems to be a relatively inexpensive purchase, but it's three-phase. So it is an additional $6,000 in rewiring the building. Be interesting for the board to find out if a three-phase compressor is an oddity, and maybe that's why the compressor is available, and maybe that's why it's available for, I don't remember what it was, $10,000. I'm going to put $10,000. I don't remember. Okay, so if it's an oddity, then we're buying into something that's when it's outlived its usefulness, or it just breaks down for some reason, we're going to be either purchasing another three-phase compressor, or we're going to go back to, the plug-in, the standard electrical service. So the town's going to lose out, taxpayers are going to lose out on either side of that option. And I hope that the board will look into, what other departments, probably similar size to Ware, do they have three-phase? I can see probably, Manchester, City of New York, any of the larger towns probably have it. But I hope it's, certainly looked into before the purchase is made. And I'm not questioning the purchase. Understand that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Great. Hearing none, we'll move on to volunteer for the cable committee. Is John here? Welcome, John. How are you? Good. The agenda indicates this is a reappointment, so you've been on the cable committee in the past, correct?
Oh, yeah,
But you're not currently now?
Long time.
Okay, I thought so. You look
Yes.
very familiar. So when did you previously serve on the cable committee, and for how long?
Well, I was on the original cable committee when I first came into town back in the 80s. I was on for 2 or 3 years before I went off and did other things. And then I went and served on many other committees, and when I got off the select board, and I think it was 2013, I got back on again, so.
Okay. All right. So why do you want to serve again on the cable committee?
To help Doug out.
You've been recruited, huh? All right. What talents and interests do you have which would be helpful to you in executing the role? Other than you know the job, right?
Just willing to come up and do it.
Okay.
That's it.
Do you have the time to regularly attend meetings
Meetings,
of the cable committee?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we're discussing the fact that they need to meet more, so. Okay, all right. And I assume, based on your prior exposure to town government, you're very familiar with the 91A, the right to know laws? Okay, all right, good. Do you have any business interests or personal conflicts that would prevent you from acting in the town's best interests?
No, not that I know of.
Okay. What do you guys have?
Good.
No? Okay. All right. Any questions for us, John? No? Term? I'm assuming 3 years, correct? 3 years?
Well, yeah, I guess.
You sound very enthusiastic about that. All right, we're going to put you in for 3 then.
All right.
Okay. I'll accept a motion to appoint John Lawton to a 3-year term on the Cable Committee. That would be an expiration date of April 1, 2027. So moved by anyone?
So moved.
And is there a second?
Second?
Any further discussion? All those in favor say yes or yay? Yes?
Yes.
All right, I heard 3, so there'll be no, 0 no's and 0 abstentions. So I look forward to hearing good things about the Cable Committee coming up really soon. Do we have an oath of office?
I do.
Would you like to do that, Selectman Pratt?
Sworn in.
Yeah.
All the bells and whistles. All right, you raise your right hand. I, John Lawton,
I, John Lawton,
do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear,
and affirm that I will faithfully and impartially
affirm that I will
faithfully
faithfully and impartially
discharge and perform
discharge and perform
all the duties incumbent upon me
all the duties incumbent upon me
as Cable Committee member
as Cable Committee member,
for a term of 3 years,
term of 3 years,
according to the best of my abilities,
according to the term,
the best of my abilities,
best of my abilities,
agreeable to the rules and regulations
agreeable to the rules and regulations
of the Constitution and the laws of the state of New Hampshire,
to the rules and Constitution
of this Constitution and the laws of the state of New Hampshire.
and the laws of the state of New Hampshire.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Okay. No, don't go away, you're gonna sign it. You sign it back. And then I'll you sign it after.
We never did this before.
Things have changed, we got you. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your volunteering. Thank you.
I just put you in the wrong spot. And then you can pass it down. 7 o'clock, look at that.
Okay, while they're finishing up that paperwork, I'd like to open a public hearing at 7 PM for the purposes of hearing public testimony and comment regarding the establishment of a Ware Energy Committee/Commission. The statute does not require a public hearing to establish an energy commission. However, over the past few months, during our normal public comment period at the Board of Selectmen meetings, citizens have spoken both for and against establishment of a formal organization. Given the conflicting input, this board thought it would be prudent to seek wider and specific input from the legislative body. That's why we're having this public hearing tonight. RSA 38D allows the governing body to establish an energy commission for the study, planning, and utilization of energy resources for municipal buildings and built resources of such city or town. And the duties under 38D:4, the commission shall research energy use and costs and make such information available to the town on at least an annual basis. And B, make recommendations to local boards and committees pertaining to municipal energy plans and sustainable practices such as energy conservation, energy efficiency, energy generation, and zoning practices. According to the statute, the commission may have 3 to 10 members plus alternates for a 3-year term, staggered in 1, 2, and 3-year terms at committee startup. The establishment of committee does not automatically generate a specific energy commission fund, and there is not already one in existence that I found on the books, so no prior actions have been taken by the town to set aside any money for specific use for an energy committee. And if an energy committee fund is established in the future, the governing body would still be the agents to expend. I'm only providing this as background for anyone who might be interested in whether or not this committee would have authority to expend funds on its own. My research says it will not. We have had citizens express interest in serving on the committee. Should the Board of Selectmen affirmatively vote to create an Energy Commission this evening, we'll put out another formal call for volunteers and then put forward staffing of that committee at a later date, subsequent meeting. So with all that as a preamble, I'll open up the floor to anyone who wishes to speak either against or for establishment of an energy commission. And when you come to the podium, please state your name, your street, and whether you're for or against before you go on into your comments. And if we have a lot of people that are looking to speak, I'll limit comments to about 3 to 4 minutes. Okay?
David Erickson, Poor Farm Road. As you know, I've been hoping to have this committee established. I'm interested that the word commission was used almost interchangeably. Is that,
The reason I use that is because the statute 38D actually calls it an energy commission, and we've just been talking about it as far as a committee, but I believe the statute does call it a commission.
all right,
So I used it / so that
Either
we
way.
knew we were talking about the same thing.
good. Well, there seems to be plenty to do. We did get the grant in on time for a possible solar array on the police fire station. It was
Thank you very much.
Much appreciated.
I'm sure you did a lot of work on that, I thank you.
Other committee members here also helped. Yeah, and appreciated your support, Keith Earth's support, fire chief and police chief's support. Coming up, we would hope to work on community power. If we did get that grant for the safety complex, there's a possibility of another grant for battery storage so that a generator wouldn't be needed for backup at the safety complex. Efficiency studies. I know the library windows are a real heat loss problem. I think doing a thorough study of all town buildings, especially the older, leakier ones, would be well worthwhile to see if there's any low-hanging fruit savings we could generate, and then eventually also maybe some more solar, perhaps at the transfer station or wherever seems to make sense after consulting. But I much appreciate you bringing this to a vote finally.
Thank you for your comments.
I'll be brief. I'm Paul Dosher. I live on Poor Farm Road as well. Been there for 43 years. I taught energy policy and technology at New England College for a number of years and had a business doing energy efficient building retrofits and design, and changed careers a number of years ago. But I am willing to join this committee and help in whatever way I can. And I've attended a couple of meetings to date, and I want to, again, thank David for doing all that hard work on that grant proposal, because it was not an easy thing to pull together.
It looked pretty complicated.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I'm assuming, Paul, that's a resounding 4?
I'm sorry?
You're for the project, or for the
Absolutely,
commission?
yep.
Okay, thank you.
I would be 100% in favor of the committee being established, commission or committee. I believe that there is a difference as far as the powers of a commission compared to a committee, so you might want to look into that, but definitely something that's needed, both for conservation, saving of money in supplying electricity to our buildings, and also just the state of the world as far as climate change and the use of fossil fuels and alternatives. So time is right for this to be happening. Thank you.
Tom. It is 38D2, the Energy Commission. A city or town may establish an energy commission, hereinafter called the commission, for the study, planning, and utilization of energy resources for municipal buildings and built resources of such city or town.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as I stated earlier, I was calling it committee because that's what they've been calling them.
Right,
We've
I
been
just-
calling it up to that point,
Just
so
recalling the
committee slash commission is what I,
Conservation Commission
Right.
and the Parks and Rec Commission have a little more power than a committee, and I don't know what those are, but I know there's a difference. Thank you.
yeah, thank you. Appreciate you making sure we understand that.
Frank Campana, Quaker Street. I'm not going to commit myself to saying yes or no to the commission, but I do have several concerns. It's been mentioned about a grant. Does anybody know, I guess maybe the people that wrote it, is it a matching grant, total grant? If it's a matching grant, how much? It's going to cost us money. They
It
said-
was a complete grant.
Okay. Is there a dollar amount? Was there a dollar amount set at the time for that?
I don't believe so.
Okay. So,
I could be corrected on that, but I don't recall.
okay, that's fine, okay. My concerns with grants is, even if it's a totally fully funded grant, when it comes time to repair, when it comes time to replace, who's gonna get left holding the bag for the cost? I probably won't be alive, but some people in this room and out there are gonna be alive for that. And I hope when I talk about solar, I'm not a fanatic environmentalist. I am, concerned about environment. But when it comes time to, I lost my train of thought. I guess I'll have to sit down. But I hope when the solar comes around for discussion, that, this is what I wanted to say, that, they talk about payback. I'm not familiar because I don't know cost of solar, the dollar amounts, what the payback is. But you better be darn well assured when this committee, if they get a grant for solar, that, or anything for solar, that the payback is very well thought out. Because I don't have any facts in front of me, but I do understand that for what you save through the life of the solar, when it comes time to replace it, you're spending more than what you've saved. Again, I don't know that for fact, it's just that I have heard it as comments from some people. So, if it's too good to be true, I'd just be very cautious. So leave it up to the hands of the commission, that they're going to be, responsible enough to look at those things. I did hear one person when, one of your last meetings, when a solar person from, I guess it was on the committee, he stated that it was going to save the taxpayers' money. How is it going to save me money? And to what degree? I have no idea. The board probably has no idea. Maybe the commission already has some idea. The question should be asked of them. Okay? So, just step very lightly with this commission, very, very lightly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Should I answer Frank's questions?
No, we're good at right now. Thank you.
Richard Buck, I agree there should be something done or started looking at solar. I don't believe it should be a full committee or a commission. I think it should be a subcommittee to the Board of Selectmen. And set the ground rules, set the structure. We want you to look at 4 municipal buildings and see what energy savings or potential energy savings are associated with that building. And let that run its course, whether it's a year or 2 years. And then make a determination based on input from the subcommittee as to what is next or what was accomplished. I'm a little concerned that there is no dollar amount associated with that grant. How was that grant established, and how was it?
I believe there is a dollar amount, and David was going to correct me on that, but I told him to wait.
I'd like to know what the dollar amount is,
Yeah.
if he would.
David?
Thanks. The grant was for, let me just make sure I get this right, $119,420, and there is some maintenance built in with that grant from the first installer that we contacted.
Okay. And just to be clear, that was just, it's a grant application. It is not that we've been awarded a grant and
I'm more
accepted it.
interested in the dollar amount.
Yep.
So that would be the dollar amount without the grant. If we were going to do it and put an article in the warrant to spend $100,000, that was the number, right?
Yes.
To save how much?
I don't
$10,000?
have those in front of me.
You don't have those
Yeah.
numbers? Sure you
I
do.
don't have them in front of me.
I'm sorry.
Okay, the cost for the electrical costs for the safety complex is roughly $13,000. Right? But we've been coming in under. I think it was $8,000, $9,000 the previous year. So I think that the number that was thrown out by Mr. Erickson was $10,000, saying that we could save you $10,000. Probably the right number, ballpark. But we have to spend $100,000 to get to that $10,000. You can figure out what the payback is, what the return on the investment. It's significant. But let's just isolate the $10,000. What is that, how does that impact the taxpayers? It's 7/10 of a penny. You won't even see that. It's like going down to the beach and grabbing a handful of sand and saying, I'm gonna reduce the amount of sand on this beach. It's really is insignificant. And the safety complex, I think, is the largest expense of electricity of our 4 municipal buildings. So it kind of goes downhill after that. And this building here, with the roof structure, may not be suitable for solar. And it's probably not suitable for a ground array, unless you take out the parking, which probably would be not a smart thing to do. The safety complex, I think, is the second largest. I think it's somewhere in the $8,000 range, $8,000 to $9,000. Again, the contribution back to the community, to the individual taxpayers, is negligible. So, and there was also talk about putting batteries in as a backup. We already have a system in place over there, which is generators. And I'm going to use a naughty word, gasoline or maybe diesel, I don't know. But they want to replace that, you just heard, to replace it with battery. Why? I'd like to know what their overall goal is. 'Cause the things have been said, we're going to cut your taxes by members of the club. We're going to save you $10,000. Really, it's negligible. It's not going to impact anyone. And saving $10,000, yeah, we're not going to get that back. It's going to be eaten up somewhere else within the budget, and you know that. If people are naive enough to think that we're going to save you $10,000 and that's going to show up in your tax rate, it won't. There's going to be other costs associated with the budget that's going to drive that number higher and higher. The other thing is that, I'm really disappointed in the board. From what I understand, there is a charter. Is that correct?
There's not an official charter. The group that has been meeting unofficially has come up with something, but it is not an official charter.
But there is something that was given to the board.
We have received a copy of it, but
Why
we have
wasn't
not.
something put on the town website? So we
It is
could-
not anything that has been adopted. It's just
But
there,
it's what they want to accomplish.
but we don't even have a committee yet or a
I
commission yet.
understand that. And
So
I hope-
the process is, are we going to establish a commission? Are we going to staff that? And then what is their charter?
What's the basis to do that?
Tonight's input is the first step in whether or not we're going to have a commission. Yes or no is what we hope to get out of the end of this
So
discussion.
Okay, so you're going to make a
it's-
decision based on comments?
No,
based
not
on-
solely based on comments, but we think it's important that the public voice their opinion.
Okay. So.
Because
do
we have been getting competing yeses and nos, fors and against
depends
from
on
the
who's-
public. So,
Depends on who picks people up in their wagon and brings them here, right? There's a vested interest for people supporting the committee to be here tonight. Other people are just here to aggravate, I guess, but to question. And unfortunately, I can't question much outside of what I've already heard verbally. I
right,
can't
and that's why I
question-
wanted to make sure that everybody understood that 38D has very specific duties. Should a commission be formed, it would be to research municipal energy use and cost and make such information available to the town at least on an annual basis, and make recommendations to local boards and committees pertaining to municipal energy plans and sustainable practices such as energy conservation, energy efficiency, energy generation, and zoning practices.
We're relatively small. We have 4 municipal buildings. I'm assuming we're not talking about some of the historic buildings. I'm assuming you're not going to put a,
Probably not, given
Solar
their
array.
age and the possible load that would be
well, not
required
only
to
that,
put
but
something on the
costs-
building.
The costs are
Right,
not
and
there.
yeah, and they
I
don't
get phone
use a
calls
lot of
from people who
energy.
want me to sign up for solar, and when they say, well, you're paying, you're at least 150 a month, right? You're paying, I said, no. 125? No. Under 100? Yeah, okay, good night, bye, thank you. They don't want to talk to me because I'm not paying enough electricity, because they're not going to get their bang for their buck. There isn't going to be grants always available, I'm assuming. There's a good chance we're probably not going to get this grant, from what was said by the spokesperson. So it's going to show up as an article on the warrant.
Not necessarily.
It might not even get that far.
Right.
Yeah. Again, I think you should take it slowly. I'm not against doing something and moving in a direction that maybe make us more energy independent, I don't know. But you got to look at the cost benefits here. $100,000 to save $10,000, or $100,000 that we would have to appropriate if it wound up on the warrant and was approved. That's a significant impact if it's a bond or however you're going to pay it to the
Yeah,
taxpayer.
that's almost a half of a dump truck.
7/10 of a penny is what you're saving per year.
Yeah.
And just numbers, I'm not talking about any benefits in terms of the environment. I'm just looking at it from a taxpayer standpoint.
Yeah.
Trying to be objective.
Okay. I've asked other people to limit their comments
Oh,
to
I'm
4
sorry,
minutes,
I'm
so
sorry,
you're
you're
definitely
right.
over
I'm
that.
sorry.
So is there any final thoughts?
Tolerance.
Next.
I'm Greg Smith, Reservoir Drive. After listening to some of the comments, I'd like to offer some thoughts, intended to clarify things. One thing I think might be going on is I think people are possibly conflating, which is to say unnecessarily mixing together the idea of the grant and the commission. As I understand it, and people who are here and know better than me can correct me if I'm wrong, the grant was written by a group of private individuals seeking to help the town. As far as I know, the only thing the town has done is endorsed the effort by maybe signing some letters of support and things like that. Should the grant be approved, it would be up to the Board of Selectmen, as I understand it, to decide whether to accept it or expend the funds. The Energy Commission is a different issue, which would be proactively preparing to possibly do future activities like that, find other grant opportunities. So that's the commission which we're talking about today. Since the grant has come up so much, I also want to try and offer some clarification there. A grant is what can also be known as other people's money. So should the group be successful in securing this grant, that is $119,000 of someone else's money that would then come into the town but be earmarked for the purpose of solar power. So it is not something that would impose a burden to purchase. Now, the point is well taken that it could impose some burdens for maintenance. However, it does have the potential, as has been discussed here, to save between $8,000 and $12,000 a year, whatever the electric bill is for the station. Now, that is money that could then be used or set aside for maintenance if necessary. And the argument has been made that $8,000 a year is only a fraction of a penny per person in town, and that's true. But it's still $8,000. And that's $8,000 that doesn't have to be spent on electricity. And yes, it may end up being used for other purposes, but those are other purposes that would otherwise have to be funded with taxes. So I just wanted to mention that in general, grants like this are usually a good idea. $10,000 is $10,000. And please keep in your mind, I would recommend that people keep separate in their minds the idea of the grant and the commission. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Chris Conroy. I'm on Poor Farm Road also. I've been involved a little bit with the commission and worked a little bit on the grant, know a little bit about that. And I think the key phrase that I would say from the statute is to provide information. And that's pretty much what we would be doing. We don't have any power to do anything else. So I am in favor.
Thank you.
Hello, my name's Sam Small. I live at 46 Forest Road. I'm in favor of the committee, it's just basically giving us an opportunity to, like was stated, explore all the options. And if I think a lot of good points are made, maybe financially, then we can see where the numbers are. But in this case, because it's a grant and was stated other people's money, our money, it'd be nice if we could use some of that to benefit the town. And ultimately, if we could become more energy independent as a town, I think going into the future, that's probably not a bad idea. So I don't really see any necessary drawbacks. And so for those reasons, I'm for forming the committee.
Thank you.
Debbie Farr, North Stark Highway. I enthusiastically endorse setting up a commission.
Thank you.
Hi, Tom Flaherty, Sunrise Lane. I read the RSA that was referenced, and the state does authorize towns to set up a commission like this. Do you know if the board would have an ex officio member on this, like most commissions do? There's an option for that, but has that been thought about?
It has not been discussed, but we could certainly discuss that this evening as well.
Yeah, and I think this commission could act as a committee, even though it's a commission. It all depends on what the board wants to delegate. So to me, it sounds more like a committee, but I understand the commission concept, which is given by the state. So not against the concept, just thinking about operational. I think it sounds like it could be an opportunity for an ex officio to be there and for the board to be involved in it like they are with park and conservation. So similar to those entities, I think, for people's reference. So, all right, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, John Lawton, Oak Hill Road. I'm neither for or against this. I really don't have an opinion one way or the other. I do have a concern, like Frank had mentioned, on reoccurring costs of this if it were to be granted and installed. Any kind of maintenance or damage that was done to these panels, or in the case of battery storage, batteries have a life and they need to be replaced. That's a budgetary item that would probably have to be, put into the budget on a regular basis. That's my concern. Like Dick was saying, it's with 0.7 cents. I think that would probably, for most people, be less than $2 or $3 on their total tax bill you're saving. So that's my concern. I just, it's another thing that's on our budget that maybe we need, and maybe we don't need. So that would be my concern. I would just hope you take that into consideration when you make your final adjustment. Okay.
Thank you. Does anyone else like to go before Tom gets back up again? Thank you.
Tom Clow, Concord Stage Road. I think that there are two things to consider here. One is obviously cost, and that's where the focus has mainly been. But, we're only one small community, not that small anymore, but, and it'll take many small communities doing energy savings and energy replacement with something other than fossil fuels in order to have an impact. I realize that, but I think every impact from every community to change the way that we create electricity and is important. So that's a piece of this discussion should revolve around what can we do to have an impact on the Earth's environment. Though we might think, Little Ware, New Hampshire? Well, there are lots of little New Hampshire towns and towns all over the state and the country that together can make a big impact. The other thing is, and I may be a little off on this, but I think that you look at putting a solar panel on a building doesn't necessarily mean that the savings could only be in that building. I know the legislature has changed the buyback rules for power several times over the years, but like if a town puts up separate from the building, a solar field and applies those, that energy that's created by that to the town's energy costs as a whole, it might create a different picture. I'm not suggesting that, but I think that's one of the things that probably this committee would look at. Is there a way to, on a bigger scale, to use solar energy to save money for the town and save energy for the town? So if you look at one building and what's the savings on that one building, I think that it's going to go a lot deeper than that as the committee gets their feet on the ground and really explores what they can do. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Last call for public comment.
Laurie McKenzie, I'm on Russell Drive. So I've been involved in this gathering of concerned citizens, whatever we're calling ourselves. And I would ask you tonight, I believe that you folks can at the very least grant us committee status. Because it doesn't involve money, it doesn't involve taking money, it just is. We've got a group of concerned citizens who are working as a committee. We announce it to the public. They're welcome to attend. And we chat about ways to save money for the town, I mean, really. And another piece of it is education. To really, if we can educate the town, ways that people can save money individually. It just is volunteer citizens just trying to be helpful. Right? So, and I do think that tonight you guys could say, sure, you guys can be a committee, because it's really not that big of a deal. The commission's a whole nother thing, because that's where you get into grants and accepting grant dollars. Like, that's a whole different animal. And so, and I can see the need to talk about that. That's a process. But I'm pretty sure that just so that we can call ourselves a Ware Energy Committee without being, the Ware group of concerned people about energy gathering at the library every various Thursday. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just, I think that there are two separate things that can happen. One's pretty simple, the other's a little less simple. But, moving toward a goal, which is really the common good, and saving us all some money. So, does that make sense?
Does.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Thank you, appreciate your comments. Okay, one final call. All right. Hearing none, I will close the public comment section and turn it over to the board for their discussion.
So there's a lot of concerns on ROIs, and where the money comes from. It's all valid. But nothing happens from this committee, without going through the board and going to town vote. So I don't see that as being a large issue, but I believe the committee needs to establish how you're going to present your information, how you're going to deem cost to benefit. That all has to be presented, I think, to the T, to be able, one, to get your idea across correctly, and for people to take you seriously. So I believe most of the comments tonight were based around that, so please make that consideration one of your top priorities of how you want to present your information. I also want to make a note that the establishment tonight would only be for the Energy Commission Committee and not a Community Power Aggregation Committee. That's a totally separate entity and a totally separate RSA, so.
Yeah, that's known as an electric aggregation committee, and that is governed under RSA 53E6.
Correct.
Okay.
So I just want to make that clear. That's all I have.
I have several thoughts on the matter. I'm not sure how much I'm willing to share at the moment, but I think in general, I'm in favor of it, of collecting information, getting information on what different grants are available. I am not convinced that our little town anything that we do for this would make any sort of global impact in terms of climate change. We talk about how much electricity we're using and how much we would save our taxpayers for this. Honestly, the amount of any carbon that we would be saving would be minuscule compared to what the other countries of the world are putting out right now. The United States is one of the cleanest countries that there is compared to many other countries around the world. So what little we would do here would not have much of an impact globally. However, when we talk about savings, that is where we would have a far better impact on this, especially if the general, talk about this grant in particular, especially if the initial cost is already paid up front, then there is no ROA timeframe, return on or the return on the investment on the ROI. It's going to be, everything we would save would be from that point on. So if it's $10,000 a year or $10,000 a month, for this solar array, it would still be that amount that we would be saving from day one. That's not saying after 10 years, then we start making money. We'd start making money right away on something like that. The batteries, again, it's not going to be a grand impact on a global scale, because again, those lithium and other rare earth minerals have to be mined from someplace. They're generally being coming out of other third world countries where things are impacted. So we impact someplace else so that we can feel better about what we're doing here. So again, if you're looking at a global, a global impact, you got to look at the whole scale. What the impact is to installing things globally. But again, locally, having batteries, having solar gives us a far better opportunity for emergency services. If there is a grid down situation, we have an opportunity to have a building, perhaps several, that are independently powered, where people can go. We can have emergency shelters in the wintertime or cooling stations in the summer. it gives us opportunities as a town to provide better services for people, especially in an emergency situation, and to save money, overall for that. So for that, I would be in favor of having, a committee. Plus, looking at other buildings and where we can, again, new windows, and, maybe for a small investment in new windows, we can have, recurring savings overall. So there is benefit to having a group of people who are interested and who can be the experts at finding the information, to provide to the town.
Anything else?
No, that's enough.
Well, I'm curious what you didn't share. Regarding my input, the scope that I've read a couple times about 38D and researching our municipal energy use and how much we spend is one that I would welcome a deep dive into. The second tenet of responsibilities, should this commission be formed, would be to make recommendations to local boards and committees pertaining to energy plans at the municipal level and sustainable practice such as conservation, efficiency, generation, and even zoning practices, which may be of help to the planning board, for an instance. And as Selectman Pratt touched on, an energy commission is not synonymous with an electric aggregation committee, which we also is known as community power. This body does have the authorization by statute to establish electric aggregation committee, but that is not what we're talking about tonight. And as I mentioned before, the RSA that governs that is 53E:6. Should we want to establish an electric aggregation committee in the future, that would require a totally separate discussion and a separate board vote. So just wanted to be clear that those two things, we talk about them a lot together, but they're really different as far as the statutes and our action are concerned. So those are my thoughts.
I have nothing else.
Nothing else? Anything else? All right. Anyone like to make any motions?
I would, let's see, how we word this. I would like to make a motion to establish the Ware Energy Committee in accordance with RSA 38D. I believe. That's all I need.
Do you have any input onto number of full members? It can have up to 10, should we move forward?
Well, they are going to set an agenda and a bylaw. So do we let them establish that? Let's start with the minimum, let them establish.
That's fine. I just didn't know if you had any input. And you did use the term committee, but according to the statute, it is a commission?
Yes.
Is that deliberate or not?
No, because it, by all rights, it's a commission, more run like a committee, but, yes, so I'm sorry, straight committee.
Okay.
And, that would be the Ware Energy Commission.
All right. And there's been talk about having a limited initial duration of this commission. Any limitations you want to impose on that?
No, because at any time, we can vote to dissolve it.
Okay. All right. So I have that you motion to establish a Ware Energy Commission in accordance with NHRSA 38D.
That's correct.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second with the caveat that I feel more comfortable having the full board here, but we'll make the motion anyway. We'll make that second.
And would you like to expand on that?
I just think it would be better to have the full board available for the meeting. But you know,
Your thoughts?
If it does not pass, they can come back and request again. So, they've been waiting for a year and a half now. You know, so I think it's time to do something. It's because 2 members aren't here. I don't think that should stop the vote.
Yeah, and we do have a quorum, which is officially required to make decisions, and we have that tonight, so.
Understood, just voicing a concern, that's all.
Point taken.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion, we have a second, and we have some discussion concerning whether or not we should do this without the 2 missing members on the board, and I believe we're saying to proceed. So any further discussion?
I have nothing.
Okay. So hearing none, all in favor say yes or yay?
Yes.
Yes. So that's 3, so there would be none opposed and none abstained, so the motion passes. So since the motion passed, I'll ask Naomi to put out a formal call for volunteers. As we stated earlier, appointment of volunteers to this would be in a separate meeting after the public has had time to consider their interest and submit appropriate volunteer paperwork. Usually that's a 2-week period. Not guaranteeing that it will be on the next agenda, but it will be sometime soon. So with that, I'll close the public hearing completely at 7:42 PM. Okay? Thank you. Appreciate everybody coming out and chatting with us. And for all of the valuable input.
Thank you.
Okay, so next on the agenda, we have department head committee items. I'd like to recognize DPW Director Fisk for an update on the River Road Bridge project.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, so we have received Jacob's fee or draft fee estimate for their engineering. The state liaison that we're working with has a copy of that. She received it on Friday, I believe. She's going to be reviewing that this week, then going to be giving us some of her input, comments, questions, concerns that she may have.
And just to back up 1 second, the topic is the River Road Bridge replacement. This is
Yes.
not the weight limit
Yep.
discussion. This is the replacement project.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
So as soon as we hear back from her, we will get back with the engineering company, discuss comments, questions, concerns, and then we should have a better update for you guys. 26th, I believe, is the next meeting.
Was it what you expected, or did they have lots of caveats, or anything you can share on the input? I know it has not been reviewed formally, so I'll keep that in mind with whatever you answer.
I haven't been involved in too many of them. So it seems fairly thorough, as far as I can tell. Took me a little bit to review 40 pages or so that we got emailed, so yeah. The state liaison has obviously done many of these projects, so I'll be interested to gain a little bit more knowledge from her and what her concerns possibly be.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't know, I think I pretty much covered
Yeah,
it.
I mean, I didn't have time to study it either, but it's been a long time since I did a bridge too, so we lean heavily on her. And she also suggested that we don't discuss a lot of it without them to review, because there's more than just her.
Okay.
And then we will definitely bring it back, but they're gonna review it. And if there's concerns, then we'll go back to the engineer with the concerns and then bring it to you for final approval.
Okay, all right, good. All right,
Where do we sit as far as the timeline, the original timeline? I think original timeline went to next summer, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I don't think you can start, I don't think we can start until 25 with the money, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the money's available as soon as
Yeah.
20.
Yeah. I
January
thought the
1st,
original
but-
timeline was like somewhere end of summer, maybe early fall.
If everything goes well, one building season, so if we can get all the ducks in a row to where the spring they can start demolition,
Yep.
before winter of '26.
Yep. All right. Just curious.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else, or do you want to talk about the DPW candidate we talked about earlier? Or talked with earlier, not about, talked with?
I have one.
Before you get to that, do you have any comment or update on the weight restriction?
So we've done a few smaller repairs that Jacobs had suggested. They did come out, do the inspection, and I'm still waiting on, well, they've filled out the Form 4 that they're supposed to do. It's their recommendation for the weight rating, and that's with DOT, so we're kind of waiting on them.
Thank you.
Yep.
During public comment, there were two comments. One was the request of always giving a receipt whenever somebody pays for something. Would you like to tell the public that that's just for them to get a receipt? It has nothing to do with the cash going into the cash register?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea to hand everybody a receipt. You know, it requires the guys to go back into the house there and go into the register, come back out, and some people are in a hurry, I guess. They say, do you want a receipt? No, don't want a receipt. And they're off. But again, it's, like you said, it's nothing to do with cash physically going into the register. The register prints out a receipt every time there's a transaction made. So I do think it's a good practice that we try to give everybody a receipt. Whether or not people are going to take them, it's a different story.
Okay. And there was also something in public comment about there still being a shortage with the revolving fund.
Yep. I believe I have the same printout that Mr. Butt had. I think last year at this point we were 17,000 in the hole. At this point, right at the moment, we are 48, 49 and change. But that's subject to a little bit of fluctuation. At the end of the year, every year, that number is within $1,000 or $2 of plus or minus. Just the way the bills come in, the way trailers go out. Sometimes it all doesn't get clocked in before the end of the year. So obviously being in the negative is not good. We are much less than we were at this point last year. I'm of the opinion that that number is going to even out by the end of the year.
Where were we in March? Do you have that number in front of you?
I have year-to-date stuff for you.
It seems like we were close, somewhere around that number.
I thought it was within 1,000, but I'm not doing good on numbers today.
What I'm trying to say, it doesn't look like it's getting bigger. We're still in whatever small hole we had at the beginning of the year, so. I believe. I don't have everything in front of me. But
Yeah, so right
what I'm
now,
trying to say is we're holding steady, is what it seems like.
yeah, so we were in the negative, I believe it was $7,000 a couple weeks ago. And then, like I said, the way stuff comes in, that came in, now we're a little less than 5,000. So the number's holding pretty steady across the board. We're not increasing 1 month drastically versus the next month, so,
Yeah, that's a good story at the end of the day.
And you are periodically assessing whether or not the amounts that are being charged are adequate to keep us out of the red? And
Yeah, so
that they
every-
cover all of the costs?
every week the cash comes down to the Highway Department, Public Works office. I go through it, check the amounts, check the totals, make sure that all the money's there, checks line up, cash lines up, make sure that we are very close to covering what a full trailer or demo costs. That's obviously kind of what we're focusing on here, is the biggest ticket item in that revolving fund, but
And that includes what we have to pay to actually get it hauled away? You know,
Yeah.
transportation as well
Yep.
as the material?
yep.
Okay. Anything else? Earlier, we interviewed a DPW candidate, Michael Kenny, for the position of truck driver. I'd like to make a motion that we hire Michael Kenny for the position of truck driver, an hourly rate of $24.72, which is step 2, with a start date of TBD pending successful pre-hire screening requirements. It would be a standard 6-month probationary period per the personnel policy, with that beginning after the start date. Is there a second for that?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say yes or yay?
Yes.
Yes? And I heard 3, so that'd be 0 no's and 0 abstains. So, once you get all of Michael's pre-hire stuff done, you and Naomi can work with Beth and get him officially on the books.
Perfect.
Thank you.
So that invoice that you have in front of you, is for our trailer caddy for the transfer
I
station.
saw it.
So that came in last week. We completed our demo period. Swapped out a couple trailers with it. Picks up a loaded trailer just fine. I kind of walked the trailer all around the yard down there, through all the potholes and such, just to make sure that it was going to work for us. I think the guys will just need a few extra hours of training on it, and it should work out well for us.
And how do you think it's gonna perform on snow?
I don't think we'll have a problem.
Okay. Just thick
How
paper.
long do we have to, then we have like a probationary period to use it?
There's a week.
It's a week.
Yep. Yep.
And do you need anything from us to pay this?
Yeah, I need you guys to approve it.
Okay.
It was coming out of the capital reserve fund, right?
Yeah, the,
Transfer station.
yeah, special.
So it's the transfer station capital reserve fund? Are you still looking?
Yeah.
I'm still spinning. There we go.
Transfer Station Recyclable Special Revenue Fund.
There we go.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve payment of the trailer caddy invoice number SIT 112-42840 in the amount of $55,278 to GJ Products. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say yes or yay?
You want to tell them where you're taking it from? Your motion?
Oh, I'm sorry, I just said that, I didn't say it again. From the Transfer Station Recyclable Special Revenue Fund. Does that change your second?
Does not.
Okay. All those in favor say yes or yay?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I heard 3, so there'll be no noes and no abstentions. Transfer Station Recyclable Special Revenue Fund. You can have that back.
That's all I have.
Okay, well, have a good
Unless
night.
you guys got anything for me?
Talked about the horse shed, taking out the brush on the sides. Naomi let us know there's a bunch of poison sumac there.
Yeah, it's a bunch of sumac.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did,
So I was going to ask Tim. I haven't seen Tim.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's all. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Continue with department head committee items. Library Director Clay Creasy is going to give us an update on the library's fundraising campaign. Thanks for coming in, Clay.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. Actually, I guess I invited myself, but still, thanks for letting me.
You're always welcome.
Yeah. Pass around, I got plenty of copies, if anyone else is interested. I'm not sure, yes, yeah. So,
Thank you. Just throw them down here.
first, I would like to thank, like, the town of Ware, our patrons, our teachers in town, our staff, our parents, because we are friends of the library for the funds and support, because we had the best summer ever. Our summer reading, our number of signups was 202 children. Last year it was 174, so we beat that record. And kids in Ware, they read a total of 832 hours.
Wow.
So, yep. Just July alone, we had 55 programs and 877 people attended these programs, so. I'm here today, so I'm not here today to ask of the selectmen or the town for any money. It's just going to be an informational thing, kind of like last year when I gave an update for the library expansion. That, when last I left you, a bit of information I gave you was that we were seeking consultants. And after speaking with several consultants, and we eventually hired one, we determined that the $5.3 million campaign, that maybe we're a little early, maybe we're not really ready for that. We don't really have a fundraising foundation and a structure. We needed something more modest in the meantime to kind of test the waters and to whet the appetite. And so we had several meetings with the trustees, joint meetings with trustees and members of the foundation, with some of the friends, even some of the selectmen came to these meetings, and also interested members of the public. And we talked about what we wanted to see in a fundraising campaign. We had like a long list, and then we shortened the list down of items that we thought were in most need for the library and that would be most appealing to donors. And so since then, we've put together this fundraising statement, campaign statement.
And it's called Who Knows to What Heights We Will Fly. It's our 2024-25 annual campaign. And I'm not going to read the whole thing through, maybe just half of it. Because the first part of it, you might already know, this was provided by Sherry Burdick of the Historical Society, just sitting right here. Thank you, Sherry. Just some kind of a summary of the background of our history to let people know where we came from, where we are right now, and where we're going, with some good photos as well. We also developed a mission statement with the slogan, the library is where magic begins and stories unfold. And as for the library in the 21st century, if you read further, I make the case of why we need libraries more than ever, and how we provide quality analog experiences. And 2023 was a record year for us. There was a recent survey of 211 public libraries in the state, and amongst all the libraries in the state, we ranked in the 80th percentile as far as we had the highest collection use per operating expenditure, the most circulation per print material, the lowest operating expenditure per visit, and the lowest operating expenditure per capita. That's we're in the 80th percentile in those measurements. We're only, as for the last metric, it's only $26 per resident is our operating expenditure. And also in 2023, we did set records with circulation, cards issued, number of events, program attendance, and visits. And as far as circulation, right now with the way we're doing right now, if you go through January through July, we're 14% higher than what circulation was last year. So we're doing even better. But we still face challenges. And so we did develop a mission and a core values. But so for the items that we're going to ask of donors, again, private donors, we divided them into two categories, functional and outdoor. So I'm on page 6 now. And so one of the first functional items is restoring the classics, because what better to honor the history of the Ware Library than a robust collection representing the colorful history of literature. And so we do have some of the great authors like George Orwell and Ernest Hemingway, Judy Blume and Eric Carle. We do, but these tomes by these authors have suffered under the strain of heavy usage in the elements. What's worse, too many are school donations and pulpy paperbacks with worn, faded covers, tattered pages, and minuscule print. So we're also missing some time-tested titles like Peter Pan, Caps for Sale, Ivanhoe, Little Women, amongst others. So we're well overdue for the restoration of these timeless classics. So we're asking for the acquisition of sturdy hardbacks to ensure the future generation can enjoy these treasure tales and absorb their enduring lessons. So the price for 20 adult and 20 children classics books would be $760. Another functional item is a fireplace insert, because nothing accentuates a reading room better than a roaring fire. It would enhance the ambience and coziness of the page room with crackling sounds and comforting warmth. Compared to traditional wood-burning fires, this gas-burning unit features greater safety and energy efficiency with much less maintenance and upkeep. And this insert will enhance the overall patron experience, making the library a more welcoming and enjoyable place to spend time, especially during a cold winter's day. And the cost for this insert would be $800. I've spoken previously about our need for a new book and media Dropbox, because they are a necessity for patrons who cannot access the library during opening hours. Our current one is a hefty inconvenience, and there's a paragraph describing why it's not in good shape. Also, patrons are required to exit the car and carry the load down a set of concrete stairs regardless of the weather. It's a greater hindrance to patrons with mobility issues. So not only will a new Dropbox ease these concerns, it will be located next to the curb, just like the post office. Our on-the-go patrons will experience the convenience of not having to leave their car. And so the cost of this dual drop outdoor system with a 4x4 concrete slab will be $7,000.
What do you mean by dual drop? Does it mean that they can also pick up materials?
The dual drop just means there's a section for
the way
books
it
and a
goes.
section for media.
Okay.
Media being, yes, a lot of our patrons still watch DVDs. We even have, a lot of people still have CD players in the car to where they listen to audiobooks. And video games, too, is a new thing that in the last couple of years we've added to our collection, so.
Thank you.
And even, we even have board games, but I don't know, board games might not fit, so they might have to bring that inside, but anyway. Yeah, that's fine. Ask any questions as I go along. The children's circulation desk, right now we have a small generic office desk cobbled together of 3 unrelated pieces of furniture. With vibrant colors, rich wood finishes, and a whimsical design, a new circulation desk will create an inviting environment for our younger patrons. By including book return and sitting standing areas, this integrated unit allows plenty of space for reference, checkouts, and material processing. Further, its modular design can be relocated into the front of the children's library and office, which will allow for a smoother workflow. This desk would cost $13,340. Okay, so these last 2 items, these are outdoor items, and this is an additional reason why I'm bringing this to you, just to give you a heads up, that because it's outdoor and it is the town's land, that we would seek approval for these projects. I'm not asking for an official approval right now. For one reason why is because I still, and this is one thing that's been holding this case statement up, I still have not received enough estimates to my satisfaction. I've spoken with 4 contractors, even including one today, but right now I only have currently 1 estimate. So the price that I give for these last 2 items is just from the first initial estimate. But we would like to have a Stories and STEAM platform. This is located on the building's west side. This activity center will increase our usable space, allowing patrons to enjoy the natural environment while having access to library amenities. A cover stage platform will have plenty of room for audiences to enjoy plays, story times, music performances, fitness classes, group meetings, and more. In addition, we can bring out tables and chairs for arts, crafts, and science activities. So the material labor for a 20 by 24 freestanding deck of pressure-treated and high-end natural wood would be $50,000. And again, keep in mind, that's just our first estimate.
And the west side is the
So
side near the tennis courts, or
Well, actually,
behind the building if you're looking from
If you look
114?
on the last page, it's, if you can orient it yourself, I guess turn it sideways, where you can see where it says East Road, so that would be the south side. Page Memorial Road would be on the north side. I highlighted the 3 outdoor features, so like one of them actually would be the book drop, and then the second is the platform, and the third is the garden. So that's approximately how much space it would take up and where it would be located.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure. All right, the outdoor learning garden. Let's grow. What's the best spot to sit and enjoy nature while learning about plants and nutrition? It's a certified pollinator garden. It's located next to the stage. Patrons will grow vegetables, herbs, and a wide range of pollinating plants. So, as a proof of concept, this summer, the library, we built 6 rudimentary plant beds and hosted an herb garden club for kids. It quickly filled with an added waiting list. The children tended their plants. They learned culinary and medicinal uses for each herb. Then they used them in their own crafts and recipes. And here's a quote. I haven't read the other testimonials in the case statement, but this one said, "My kids truly enjoyed watering the plants, baking dandelion cookies, and learning so many interesting facts. I even found myself wanting to learn more." That was from We're a Parent. And yeah, this program has been such a huge hit. Several children and parents have asked it to continue through additional seasons, expand its size, and offer it to older age groups. A larger, more accommodating, and more diverse garden would make this possible. So again, the initial, and actually the design, to say you said 12 by 12 garden foundation, that's really not going to be the proper size because we've decided instead of make it 2 separate units. But the initial estimate is $8,500. So the total for all these items added up, and I understand that some people might think like, well, this is not really that necessary. I would hope our case statement does make the case that none of these items are frivolous, but that's okay because we're asking for funds from private donors. If there's a particular item that a donor doesn't think is necessary, that's fine. You don't have to give your money towards that particular item. You can give your money for a particular item, or you can give the money for the entire thing. The grand total for all the items above will be $80,400. That's where it stands right now. Again, after we get the estimates, that price will probably change. So, and then on the last page, like I said, is kind of a rough drawing of where the outdoor items will be located. So.
And you said as far as the mechanism that's collecting all this money is the Friends of the Library or
No.
the library trustees?
We have options. The foundation could collect the money, or the library trustees can collect the money. So we have not really worked out who's going to. It's looking very more towards it's going to be a library trustees who are going to be collecting money, which they legally can do. But in a previous meeting, the foundation did express interest. I'm not going to hold this to them. They didn't really vote to approve this, but they did express interest in matching funds. So that would be a big plus in towards funding this campaign. And again, this is just the 2024-25 campaign. I'm already getting input on ideas for a campaign for a 25-26 campaign as well. So this is kind of going to be an annual, ongoing way that we can receive money and get the public involved, get private donor involved, and hopefully we can, like I said, build the foundation towards building a larger, expanded library edition. So, all right, any questions? Any other questions about that?
Have you looked at any grants?
No, not at this time. So.
Do you plan on doing that?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay.
That would be great. So. Anyway, but again, it'll be interesting to see, like, what we raise from the donors.
Well, this is certainly a good jumping point.
Yeah, thank you.
I know it's not a new library building or an expansion of a library building, but I think it's a really, really great step.
Thank you, Janice. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and then anything else? Or?
No, I appreciate this is a first step, and not jumping into your $5 million, fundraising, but having small, sustainable, specific steps that you're looking for.
Right. Thank you, James.
Nothing. Thank you for coming out, Clay.
Oh, sure. And actually, I have another item I can ask you for. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. This is a funding request. It's actually a continuation of a previous funding request. And I don't know if everyone wants to talk about this one, but.
Thank you.
Sure. Anyone else? Right, so back in May, I asked for funds for our lawn care, and much of my argument was that, that the town's paid for it in the past, and right now, I was just speaking to Naomi that we're going to be under contract. It's going to be under the town's contract with Stockhouse in the future. The town is currently negotiating that right now. So I'm grateful for that. However, that doesn't, for this year, we still need funding for the lawn this year because, I know your budget didn't pass, but my budget is part of your budget too. So I'm still short these funds in my budget. And it's ultimately the town's land, it's the town's responsibility. There are 13 other town properties that Stockhouse is currently taking care of, and I asked that the library be included as well. The bill we got,
We previously agreed that we were going to do that, correct?
Oh,
That's
you
my recollection, for going forward.
Right, going forward, right.
Okay.
Yes, correct. So I was just giving a summary of what we discussed in May. It was kind of left at like, you can come back to us and we can, or you'll discuss it, I can come back and make another case. So the total for the year for the lawn care for under Stockhouse is $2,450. I have made 3 payments. The library has made 3 payments. We made April, May, and June payment. The remaining balance is $980. So I'm just asking that you would fund the remainder of the lawn care bill, that $980. Yeah, on the other side is the bill for the toll.
Can we send this over to Beth and see if there's any way we can get this taken care of for him?
Very good.
Okay.
All right.
And I know we talked about the lawn contract, and we talked about the snow, I believe, as
Oh,
well.
you're right. Yeah, thanks for
And
mentioning that.
I believe we said that that's possibly something Tim can take care of when he does the other parts of the area.
Okay, you're right, because I know that, Timmy's a busy guy, so I just kind of want assurance that he can handle our walkaway as well, so.
That's our plan.
Okay. Yeah, please just let me know if anything changes. That way I can seek other contractors to help us with that, with the snow removal.
Okay.
Okay?
We'll get with Beth and see what we can do.
All right, well, thank you very much,
Thank
everybody.
you. I appreciate you coming out tonight.
Yeah, sure. Have a good night.
Thought you left. Good night. Oh, we can get far without the keys, right? I do that a lot. Can't tell you how many times I walk back through that door to get something. Have a good night. Chief Moore?
All right. So we are going to start with an issue I saw a while ago, and I've got a Band-Aid. I'll get one this side, that side. I forget how we came across this, but essentially, when the Board of Selectmen approves traffic control signs, they're supposed to be put on file with the town clerk. I checked with the town clerk, and she has nothing. So, this is a Band-Aid just to get all the town signs approved by the Board of Selectmen.
Do I get any?
I'll give you one after.
I think there's two handouts.
I got another one coming.
Do you have two handouts?
But the town, essentially, we had a citizen who resides in town who does mapping, and you gotta do a military flip on this, which just means, right? That's military flip. So he's got a map of the town, and we're gonna be putting this on our website. It's divided up to 6 segments. It's interactive. You can zoom in on each road in the town, and it'll show you the traffic control device for that road if it's not state controlled, if it's town controlled. All of these signs have GPS locations within 20 feet of their actual location of where they're posted. And that's how they were defined. So I'll start with the parking violation ordinance, which is already on the file with the town. I just did an amendment or an addendum to the parking violation ordinance and added a paragraph listing all the signs for no stopping or handicap parking. And right there, paragraph 9 is parking prohibited. That's the no parking signs we locate in town. And paragraph 10 is the handicap parking restriction in town. We already have a fire lane ordinance, so I didn't touch that or anything else that's already established by ordinance, because this is just a Band-Aid to get the signs that weren't already covered in the ordinance covered, so we can get this on file with the clerk. Worst case scenario with signs were, this is just a hypothetical. There's a vehicle accident at a stop sign, there's a fatality. We get challenged by the defensive attorney after we charge the offender who caused the accident, say it's a DUI, and we can't locate the sign with the town clerk where it was ever approved by the Board of Selectmen. We have the potentially, that's a pretty big liability. It's not to say that we don't have signs on file. We would just have to go through Board of Selectmen minutes to try to locate where the board actually approved those signs, if we have it. So this is the easy
This
Band-Aid.
is basically just documenting what's already been done.
Correct. The signs on file.
In one place.
Correct. Well, two, since we don't
Well,
have a
as far as
traffic
the parking
ordinance.
violation.
Right, that's all the approved. So on this one, I had to write some regulations, essentially quoting state RSA that the board has the authority to establish traffic control signs under RSA 4111. We throw a couple definitions in there. When I actually revise this ordinance, based on where the board wants to go with it, which will be next year sometime at the earliest, I'll probably add more terms to that. Gives us the authority to direct traffic based on those signs, remove vehicles if they're not in accordance with the signs. DPW can erect the signs and has the authority to obey them. Drivers have to obey the signs, and then we have the do not enter signs, no through truck signs, speed limit signs, stop signs, and weight limit signs, and yield signs. So those are the signs we have in town that have to do with traffic control. What this would do is, as long as there aren't any additional steps, I don't know if it has to go to public hearing or what, but if the board could approve and sign them, if we're at that point, that would be great. We can get it on file with the clerk, and then we're covered until we actually revise these ordinances.
Does this have in it any penalties?
No.
Any
So we
finger
rely on
fees?
state RSAs
Okay.
for penalties.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I just saw this one, the town handicap violation is still at $50, and the state law requires $250. So we're way out of date with our handicap zone violation, slightly.
Does this have to go to a hearing, or can we?
I only have the map in this one, but he handed out two other things. Did you have one more?
Parking violation
I'll
and traffic
give you-
ordinance.
I'll make sure you get them. I'll send you emails.
Well, I think she's trying to determine whether they need to go to public hearing or not.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's always healthy to have a public hearing. I got that one.
Well, since these are just documenting what's already on file,
Yeah.
that's why I'm asking.
So this is already on file, chief?
No, this is what I'm proposing. So the
The
parking
traffic ordinance is new.
Parking ordinance is on file,
The
and I'm just
parking.
doing an addendum to that. The traffic ordinance, we don't have, so that is.
So this is new. The parking is just an addendum that we already have. That does not, you can make an alteration to that. This has to have a new public hearing.
Okay.
This is a new ordinance.
Okay,
This one is just an addendum to one we already have with the updated information.
okay. All right,
Somebody need that one back. He's gonna send it to me. Okay, thank you.
so I think that answers.
Yep.
The addendum can be signed, and the other one, traffic ordinance, has to go to a public hearing.
Sounds good.
Okay. So. And as far as we know, there are no other addendums. You've checked that out. It's really addendum A.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so, yes, addendum A, but I went off of the correct paragraph number.
Right.
The original goes up to paragraph 8, so the addendum starts with 9 and then 10.
Okay. All right. All right.
And then you have the outlier, like the fire zone, which is just its own, it doesn't tie into the original parking, it's its own entity. Same with Reservoir Drive, it's its own entity.
Okay.
So part of the revision next year will
You gonna
consolidate
attach
everything.
this? Is this gonna be attached with it, or are you gonna stay electronically with this one?
It'll be electronically.
Is
And
there a
we'll upload-
reference there that you can just let people know it's electronically?
Oh, sure, yeah. Yeah, this would be how you enter it, and then you can zoom in where you want to see what traffic control devices. I just gave a little detail, once you do the military flip, of exactly how
Yeah.
zoomed in you can get. It will not show the state signs, though, only the town-approved signs. So if you go down 114 or 77, you're not gonna see the traffic control, like speed limits and stuff.
Makes sense.
He does have it indicated, he color codes what kind of speed zone it is. So if you zoom in, you'll see the blue line for 35 or what have you. He did a really
30,
good job
yeah.
on it.
He does good work.
He does really good work.
Impressive. Okay. So I guess we can just sign this tonight if you guys would like. The parking violation, addendum A.
You want to just make a motion to add addendum A as
Yeah.
presented for the,
Yeah, I just want to make sure that they're
sorry.
on board with doing that. Are you good?
Did you say this, the locations of these are all on these maps?
Yes.
Is that- Okay. Well, you got 6 of them, right?
The 6 zones, yeah.
Yep.
You good?
I'm good with
Anything
it.
before we, okay. All right, I'd like to make a motion that we add an addendum A to the parking violation ordinance that would add paragraphs 9 and 10 and the list of 9, 10, and 11. And it includes the name of the way, the location description, and the coordinates. Is there a second?
Second?
Okay. All those in favor, yes or yay?
Yes.
Yes. I heard 3, so there'd be none opposed. I'm gonna sign this copy and then pass it over.
The other one we'll schedule together.
Yep, sounds good. I just need one copy signed, it's fine. I'll give it to the town clerk.
Do you have anything else?
Just the updates.
You can take it with us. Did James sign it?
Yes.
All right, so just a quick radio tower update. We had an officer in a fight last night. It was on Route 77. They were out-of-town individuals who he was in a fight with. He did suffer a laceration to the eye, which required stitches, but he did not have contact with his portable radio when he tried. He also hit his emergency button, and what that does, that'll put a tone out to the dispatchers. It'll flash up on all their screens. It'll have an open mic for 10 seconds so he can communicate with dispatchers and let them know he needs help. We did have the open mic, but we never got the tone nor the alert with dispatch, so we're not sure if that's something to do with Goffstown's system when they just upgraded their radio system where it wasn't reset, or it's something that R&R has to do, but we'll be looking into that. The one thing we do know is our radio system is getting fixed. And I'm just going to mention these again for anybody who hasn't heard. We've obtained the building permit. The tower is on site on East Station, which is on Route 77. Jason and his guys in DPW have already cut back the trees so they can get to work. Hadley Contracting was awarded the concrete work. He'll be getting his equipment on site here probably before next week. He's expected to finish prior to the end of the month. He'll be digging the hole first. It's got to get inspected by the engineer. Once that's completed, he can go ahead and put the rebar up to form the base of the tower. When it's scheduled to get actually poured, two-way will come out here and help him set the footers, because there's a template they use to set the footers for the tower. Engineer will come and re-inspect. It then has to cure for a month. Two-way's already got it on their schedule to start erecting the tower October 1st or somewhere in that week, and they expect to complete the project prior to the end of the year. So that's our tower update. APHIS machine, been completed. We've got the...
Before you move on from the
Sure.
tower, I believe we still need to award fencing and landscape, is that correct?
Yep, I got a rough quote of about $5,000.
Okay, are you
for
gonna be able to do
fencing.
that before October timeframe?
Yes, so, yeah,
'Cause we
Beth's
need to-
Beth's keeping track of the cost.
Yeah, we need to
It-
commit all that before year end.
Yep, no, we're tracking, Beth's got it on her sheet.
What you guys have?
Right.
We're not
I just wanna make
anticipating
sure
more
we're
than
gonna be able
5,000,
to
yeah.
commit that, even if we can't do the planting till spring, we've gotta
Sure.
commit it.
Yep, no, we're
Otherwise, the
tracking.
money goes away.
Yep,
Okay.
tracking. APHIS machine's been completed, hooked up. Most of the officers have been trained, might have a few more to be trained, but that's done. Command Tahoe, the decals are getting put on tomorrow. The GTAC mount is getting switched out with fours at Ospey Mountain, getting upfit currently. and a different mount is going on one. Once that's complete, one's done, 4 will have to get the decals on, that'll be done. That's probably still a month and a half, 2 months out. And the town has already received reimbursement for the Command Tahoe, so already paid for, so we're good to go on that. 2 of my lines, which are going up because we've been working a lot of details. Of course, the Dodges are not holding up well. I'm already over budget as far as repairs, with the Dodges accounting for about 90% of my repair costs. But the details, so cruiser revenue, which is what we charge $20 an hour for every time a cruiser is used during a detail. This year we made almost $8,300. I would ask that 25% of that go back to reimburse those accounts so they're not over, both the fuel account and the repair account. And Beth says it just takes your approval to do that.
Okay. And the downside to doing that would be what? Anything?
It sits there until we use it for a vehicle.
Okay.
I mean, it has to be proportional to its use. Obviously, all of that money has come from details this year. It's not anything held over for a year before. So when you're talking cost based on the cost of equipping a vehicle versus its use, 25% is pretty fair to reimburse for the cost. If you go above that, it would be hard to justify the proportions. And if we got audited by the state, we might get in a little trouble. So.
Do you have the details on what that would be, or is she going to provide that to us for a future meeting?
I'm just going with $2,000 for right now, because we're still in the process, and at the end of the year, once we figure out the end of the year, I'll probably make another request for what else we've taken in. Right now, we are getting a lot of details because they're upgrading the power system, which is supposed to be like a year-long project, so those guys are out there working details almost daily. That's why this is kind of a big year for details.
So I was writing, so I didn't get the full.
$2,000
From what to what?
and I can give you the account number, or from the Special Detail Cruiser Revenue Fund to offset usage costs of fuel and repairs.
So just to confirm, you're looking for a $2,000 transfer from the Special Detail Cruiser Revenue Fund to offset cruiser fuel and repairs.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Would anyone like to move that motion?
Do we need to specify where the money's being transferred to?
That's the fuel account and the repair account. There are numbers
Are you
for
just doing
those.
an equal split?
Or the what?
Are you just doing an equal split?
Between those?
2,000,
I
meaning
told Beth I
1,000,
would just
1,000?
leave it up to her, because she's got the actual numbers.
Okay.
Did that answer your question?
I think it did, yes.
Okay. What was the
Alright.
answer?
For the fuel account and the repair account.
Yeah, for
Vehicle repair account.
Fuel account and repair account.
subject to necessity.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So move $2,000 from the Special Detail Cruiser Revenue Fund to offset cruiser fuel and repairs from the fuel account and repairs account, or, excuse me, to the repairs account and the fuel account. Would anyone like to move that?
I'll move it.
Anyone like to second it?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor say yes or yay? Yes?
Yes.
I heard 3, so that means there are no noes and no abstentions. Motion passes.
vacancy?
Oh, I can mention it. Yeah, so obviously we have one vacancy. We do have one individual who's just started the process, so hopefully that pans out. But it'll be, if it does, 2 months before you guys see him, at least.
And then what he's asking is, Beth provided an overview of, in front of you, you have that ARPA, there's an ARPA fund sheet. The plan, if you want, is, I don't know that there's anything at the moment. Have you seen this?
No, I know she's keeping track
Yeah,
of it.
so what the plan was is she's coming in on the 26th to do the investment policy, the quarterly expenses and revenue, and if you wanted to digest that, we could get into that when she's here next time.
Yeah, I'm right
Okay.
I know you're right there.
Next time? Next time?
Well, she's coming in on the 26th to go over everything, and this is the first time they've seen it.
Okay, that's fine.
So I just thought it would be an opportunity to take it and digest it and have questions for her.
No, that's
She's
fine.
gonna be here for other things on the
Yeah.
26th.
No, we don't need to talk about it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Appreciate you coming in.
Absolutely.
All right. I think that takes us over to opening bids for Center Square Cemetery monument repairs.
You got 4?
Oh, wow, good. While you're passing those around as an aside, I believe I read in today's edition of Where in the World that it reported on page 1 that the Board of Selectmen authorized the expenditure, the $35,000 in our last meeting. I think technically that's incorrect. The Board of Selectmen accepted the expenditure from the Eastman Foundation. So, yeah, so I think it's just a semantics there. So we did put the cemetery headstone repairs out to bid, and that's what we're doing tonight, is opening those. So no expenditure authorization has been made.
So you received 4, you had, just taking them down, you had Perry Brothers Monuments, now they all came electronically, so I only made 1, I can make more, but, you had Perry Brothers, you had the Coffold Family, Memorial and Stoneworks as a division of Peterborough Marble and Granite Works. You had Cornerstone Cemetery Services, and you had New Hampshire Monuments. Now, New Hampshire Monuments provided you with a book, basically, of his work. So you guys can look at them and go down the...
You said 4, but I think I wrote down 5, but I'm not sure if
Yeah,
I...
Caulfield, the Coffold family is part of, on the bottom says Peterborough Granite Works.
Ah, okay, thank you.
It's, it's coming your way.
Do you want to read off the,
I'm sorry?
did you just want to read them off, or you want to
Yeah.
review them?
Yeah. So this
We'll need more
is
time on this to digest.
Perry Brothers Monuments. It's got 6 levels of priority with the amount per priority in terms of quantity and price. And a total. Price is good for the 2024 setting season. Looks like the total quote is the $35,092. Coffold Family,
I think that's the one that only gave you a price per unit, because we laid out the same priority levels.
okay.
me to
Priority
say
list
that?
number 1, 85 a stone, 2, 125, 3, 375 to 500, 4, 85, 5, 45. Yeah, it doesn't give a complete, it also gives us a number 6 as well, so.
Yeah, there was 6 of them. There was priority 1 was leaning, soon to fall or break. 2 was down, laying on the ground. 3 was down and broken. 4 was leaning, not to fall soon but needs attention. 5 is leaning, small stones, and 6 was extreme. Their monuments are already on the ground and broken into multiple pieces.
Yep.
Those are the 6 levels.
Okay. Yeah, so they did price each of the 6.
Yeah, I just don't think they did that, because we gave
Right.
them an estimated quantity.
Right. And this is Cornerstone Cemetery, company profile, project approach. Goes into their biological cleaning solution, guarantee 6 to 8 weeks from start date. It also gives priority 1 through 6. I believe they're taking our approximate quantities, and they get prices there for a total of $30,000. References and insurance. And NH Monuments has, looks like they may have come out, says
Yep.
preliminary inspection.
Yep.
Goes into what they found during that. Also talking about their biological cleaner solution, what they do with disturbed areas, 8 to 12 weeks depending upon weather. And they have insurance, and the total they have down here is $75,450. And it is a volume. So given all these details, I'd probably like to read through them, and I'm sure everybody else would as well.
Yeah, well, actually Cornerstone came out as well.
Oh, they did? Okay.
Cornerstone was the one that had looked at, he's the sexton for Manchester. But he had come out and looked at the cemetery when we were doing the mapping. He was familiar with the cemetery, so he did make a trip by himself. I know Sherry had gone out with the New Hampshire Monument gentleman because he had some questions. So Sherry was gracious enough to go out with him.
Okay. Do we know if
There
Caulfield
was a
or
concern
Peterborough?
with how they were gonna fix them. I don't know if they noted it in their quotes, because this talked about as far as pouring the foundations and then putting it in concrete, and what I was told by 2 of them, that you don't put the marble and the concrete together, which I don't know. They would, pour it, and then where the marble would go into the base is, might be used a little bit different material, because it, we spec'd it out as the way one would do it, but there's other ways to fix it as well.
Okay.
So I just expressed to them that if they were gonna deviate from it, to make a note.
Okay. So that's probably in the details here then. Okay. Alright. So.
I have them all electronically,
Yeah, I was gonna
so-
say, if you wanna send them
Yep.
in, that'd be great. And since Sherry is the designated project liaison from the, she can get a copy too, that would be awesome.
Yep. Yeah, the other one, I don't know, Peterborough, you're gonna have to do the figuring. Because he did it by, remember, he just put this much per unit. And
Yeah,
when
I
we gave the
didn't calculate
approximate
it.
quantities, I don't know why, if he thought there was more or less.
Did they all split up by
Did they all give you a
Pass.
quantity price?
They did, I believe.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they all did.
make a,
Makes a comparison. Yeah, that's in there. It's in that section.
That's the one you have to figure, yeah.
And then here's that, and that one as well has
it's
all
on the
that in
base.
there.
Good.
Yeah.
So is that mostly pictures?
It's mostly work that he's done.
Yeah,
It
I was
is.
gonna
It's
say,
a different
it's kind of
attachment.
reference,
Yeah.
references.
There's some of the,
can
different
see.
ones that you've done, meaning different, I guess, priorities of what they're, like, you're gonna thumb through there, and there's gonna be a bunch of broken pieces. You're gonna see
Yep.
all different ones.
different materials from slate to
Yeah,
granite.
some are, right, some are marble, some are granite, some are,
Used together.
I don't see this broken out, but it could be back here in the details.
is that, his came in a couple of different emails, because he didn't want to
Okay.
send the big one all together. I think his top sheet broke them all out, didn't it?
I don't see that.
Yeah, I don't see a breakdown.
Not a price.
Okay,
He describes it,
okay. Did he
I
put the
don't-
quantity?
yeah,
Okay.
but I don't see a price per each of the
You could
6
divide it into
areas.
quantity, come up with a price.
Yeah, I doubt it's in this section.
It's in the back.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So review it.
I'll send him to you and you'll have 2 weeks to study?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so that goes.
While we're on the topic of cemeteries, somewhat tangential, I know at a prior meeting, an action was taken to determine if the Board of Selectmen must hold separate meetings as cemetery trustees, or if the tasks associated with cemeteries trustees can be undertaken while acting as the Board of Selectmen. I believe we talked about this at our last meeting, that no separation is required. Now that we know the mechanics, I'd also like to move forward with formal consideration of the Cemetery Advisory Committee at our next meeting. I believe that's August 26th. So can we get that on the agenda so we can get that moving?
What did you call it? Cemetery advisory?
Yeah, for lack of a better word at this
Yeah.
point.
And then you want to award the headstone repairs?
Yeah,
Because you're going to award legal at the same time?
yeah.
Cemetery advisory.
We've also had people already express that they want to be on that
Mhm.
committee, so I know that we may get more people, now that they know which direction we want to go in, but if we could at least appoint the folks that have been, assuming that we create the committee,
Okay.
could we also appoint the folks that we know have already expressed interest, and we can get that up and moving, and if anybody else expresses interest after we formally create it, we can certainly add them, because it's not something we're limited to the 3 people, since it's not,
Oh, is this going to be similar to what we just did tonight?
yeah.
Are there
Well,
gonna be
no
live-
public hearing or anything.
Right, were there going to be bylaws or number of people, or how are you going to do that?
Just
Because if you have 3
cor-
people interested, you appoint 3, are you going to make it to 5? And then what if you have 7, what if you have 9, what do you have? More than that, I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
we can talk about that.
yeah. We can figure it out next week, but I'm assuming it's not gonna be just 3 people, because why? I mean, the more hands, the better on something like this.
Of course.
That's my opinion,
All right,
not
so on the
speaking for the
26th, I'm
board.
going to add award headstone bids, and then the cemetery advisory committee on there.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that brings us to the donation from Towns Logging of $995. New Hampshire RSA 3195E allows us to accept less than $5,000 without a public hearing, as long as it is done as part of a normal meeting, which tonight is, and the topic was listed on the agenda, and it was. So since we've met those notice criteria, I'd like to turn it over to Selectman Pratt, who is the Board of Selectmen liaison with the Conservation Commission, and he's going to outline what the donation is and the scope of it. Thank you.
All right, yes, so the information was put together and sent in by Mr. Fulton, the chair of the Conservation Committee. He did send this to Naomi, as discussed at the July 10th, 2024 Conservation Commission meeting. We estimate the value of the Towns Logging LLC, Kevin Towns operator, gift to the town of equipment and labor to fix the drainage, the new culvert installation at the Eastman Conservation Area Town Forest driveway apron to Concord Stage Road as follows. For a half day of work Excavator, $655. Foreman operator labor, 4 hours at $85 an hour, equals $340 for a total of $995.
And I know in the past we've had citizens ask whether or not this was work completed on Sherry Burdick's part of the property, and I believe you said that this was at the apron at 114, which is not her part of the property, correct?
That's correct. It was at the lower portion of the road.
Is that correct? Okay. All right. Any questions from you? Concerns? Questions?
No?
Comments? Anything else we need to know about this?
Not for me, no.
As far as just a motion is all we need for this? Okay. So I would like to make a motion that we accept the donation in the amount of value of $995 from Towns Logging for equipment and labor on the driveway apron at the east,
At the Eastman Conservation Area, Town Forest,
Eastman Conservation Area, Town Forest, apron of 114.
or apron to Concord Stage Road.
Thank you, Concord Stage, not 114, Route 77, Concord Stage. That's why I have to write things down. Me too. And even I don't get it right then. Okay. Anyone like to second that?
Second?
Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, say yes or yea? Yes?
Yes.
I heard 3, so that would be no one opposed or no one abstained. The motion passes, and I'd like to publicly thank Towns Logging for their generosity in the donation. Appreciate them taking care of what needed to be done.
You wanted to finalize the engineering. Do you have all the corrections? Because remember at the planning board meeting, they said they'd forward them to Salem.
Yes, I did send that over to you and asked you to fill in the rest of the X's. We had the number of roads and bridges and all that wasn't defined.
No, I don't remember seeing your email.
Oh.
I worked on emails this weekend too, because I finished up the 2024 zoning ordinance, which is up online now.
Okay. All right, so I guess we can't finalize that. I'll send it apologize if I didn't get it to you, but I thought I did.
And that includes all the corrections though? Okay.
Yes. There's just still some TBDs as far
Yep.
as the number of roads, bridges, state highways, just the details of those.
Okay.
I think you have them in
We
front
know
of you.
now is 129 miles of town road
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
because of Chief Moore.
Yeah.
But I don't know about state.
129 miles?
State road.
That's what-
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot.
129 miles of town roads.
No,
Oh, town roads.
Yeah.
Okay.
State road, I don't know.
Yeah, we're unique. We have, what's it, 4?
Yeah,
We have 114, 77, 149, and 13.
13.
So 4 state highways in town.
Okay.
That's the only number I have. I know of one bridge.
One bridge.
I'm sure there's a lot of information on that one.
I'll add that in.
Do you want that back that Chief Moore gave you?
No, I was just he wrote down the number in there, so I'll add it in there. Okay.
And then ARPA, that was next on your list, Beth, so we would do it all together. So would you guys study that, kind of put some thought into?
Yeah, and I saw that also on here, just for the public's information, she has also given us some prior requests that have come in that haven't been funded. So I guess that's things we can consider to use the rest of the money for.
Right.
So, couple in fire, couple in the safety complex, and one more for police and one for DPW, so.
Yep.
There are more requests than we anticipate having excess funds for, just so you know.
We want to make sure you're going to commit to all of it.
Well, I
Hope
totally
you return it.
appreciate that. All right, so we'll talk about all that next time. So I think that takes us to manifest, right?
Yep, long-winded one.
Another one. So I'd like to vote to order the treasurer to sign the payroll and accounts payable checks dated August 15th, 2024, as included in the following manifests. Payroll manifest, $82,990.09. Accounts payable manifest, $164,310.02. John Stark accounts payable manifest, $400,000. Ware School accounts payable manifest, $500,000. For a total of $1,147,300.11. The following manifests were previously ordered to be signed at the July 22nd, 2024 Board of Selectmen meetings. Check dated August 1. The payroll manifest was $85,165.90. And the accounts payable manifest was $73,396.64. Checks dated August 8th, 2024, the payroll manifest was $100,375.01. And the accounts payable manifest was $234,252.57. There is no selectmen meeting scheduled for next week, August 19th, so we'll also vote to order the treasurer to sign payroll checks dated August 22nd, 2024, estimated to be approximately $90,000. Furthermore, to allow the treasurer to sign up to an amount of $80,000 for accounts payable that cannot wait until the next scheduled meeting. Reports and actual check amounts will be reported by the Board of Selectmen by inclusion in the manifest memo at that next scheduled meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor say yes or yay? Yes?
Yes.
I
Are
heard
there enough signatures?
3. There should be. I still have
Yeah.
Will be.
one to
Yeah.
do. I didn't make the orange folder.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So do you need this back or you have it?
No, I got one, thank you.
Okay. All right, so that brings us to minutes. I believe we have 5 sets of minutes to go over.
Yes.
First one being July 8th.
I know the guest list has Matherin, it's Matheson, Tim, on line 16.
Yep.
I think they get corrected the rest of the way, but
Line 37, change expenditure to acceptance.
that's where the article came from then.
Yep.
Yep.
I figured that's where it came from. When I read the article first, I'm like,
Yep.
that seems weird.
Yep.
And then I read this, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Okay. And then line 44, it says the funds are, I believe it should be may because it was not restricted. And the next one I have isn't until the last page, so what do you got in between there?
I've got 224. So Chief Orrick asked the board for any ideas regarding the vacancies in the department. It was actually, Chief Orrick stated he's looking forward to working with the BOS to try to figure out vacancies in the department and is looking for ideas. I've got on line 332.
332, yep.
at the end of that sentence, would be made directly to the planning board. I believe it should be to be made, or would be made directly by the planning board.
So the presentations, the department head presentations are made directly to the planning board, and then the planning board makes a recommendation to the board. Is that what you're saying? So it used to be, the subcommittee used to sit through the presentations.
The CIP,
Correct.
okay.
Yeah, the CIP presentations are made by the department head, and they go now, the discussion has been to go directly to the planning board.
So the department head goes to the
Got it.
plan.
The department head, yeah,
Okay.
makes the presentation, maybe it should be clear. Favorable not to have the subcommittee and the department head presentation. Presentations would be made directly to the planning board.
Okay.
And then this next line, next sentence, there's currently a SIP handout.
Yep.
It's a SIP policy,
Of policy.
it's CIP policy.
Okay.
Anything else?
That's all I have.
Anything, James?
Nope, nothing for me on
I
this.
just said, I know you're absent, so, can we actually approve this since he would be abstaining from the vote, I assume?
Yeah, it's 2 out of 3, though.
Okay, all right.
I mean, that's a vote of what's
Wanna make sure
present.
we're,
Yeah.
you're ready before I make the motion. Make the motion to accept the minutes of July 8th, 2024 as amended. Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor say yes or yay? Yes?
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain?
I will abstain.
Okay, 201. Okay. Move on to July 15. This was the Terry Knowles training.
Yes.
I just had one regarding line 52.
Okay.
After N ordinance, I suggested that they remove the word ordinance from the implementation guide. And then after NHDOT notification, it was in regarding to road work. It
Hang
doesn't
on.
say what it was about, it's regarding road work.
All right, hang on. What number were you on?
Still on 52. At the
52.
very end, the NHDOT notification.
Yep.
Just add regarding road work.
And line 54,
Yep.
winter affairs CBA meeting and the zoning ordinance is still dated 2019.
Oh, okay. Not anymore.
That's good to hear.
Anything else? Anything, James? Okay. Make a motion to accept the minutes of July 15th, 2024 as amended. Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor, say yes or yay?
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? I didn't hear you. Did you say yes?
Yes.
Okay. 300, motion passes. July 17th, this is the joint meeting of the Board of Selectmen and the Conservation Commission. The title of it just says Board of Selectmen. Can we also add in that it's Conservation Commission? Because we're using the one set of minutes for both. So I'm assuming that they also have to approve this, but,
Well, they're meeting Wednesday night, we can ask.
okay.
We can hold on that one if you want.
I just want to make it
We'll
as easy
table.
as possible.
Yeah, let's table and then let them read that.
I didn't have any changes.
Okay.
The only one I had was on the Hayfield lease.
Which one does that do?
Let me find it.
56.
Thank you.
Yep.
We had, going forward, we'll need to go out to bid, but we actually left it at, the lease should be in place till the end of the season, then no lease until the future use of the land is finalized.
Okay. Good catch.
And we'll let them decide on theirs Wednesday night.
Yeah,
And then we can take these back, so I'll table it right now and put it back on.
okay. Brings us to July 22nd. The first one I was 83. Wave should be wave. W-A-V-E should be W-A-I-V-E. And it looks like toward the end of 85 there's a typo, but this I, yes.
We can take out the I.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out what that was supposed to.
I think it's just, yes, it would, because,
Yeah, yeah, I think it's just yes, it would,
Yeah.
because,
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you go back to line 40, 7, should be 7,
oh, good.
0, 0.
Listen, yep.
And on line 93, it says the town tried to get quotes. I believe that should say Ms. Burdick tried to get quotes.
Yeah, I think the reason the town was discussed was she was still a selectman at the time. It was January. She gave her seat up in March.
yeah, I
So
think
she
it
did
really
it as,
was like
she
was
did it
on
as a
the
representative of the board, yeah.
at that time.
Because that's, yeah, she did it in January, and then the seat she didn't have in March.
But on line 102, we asked if it was a formal RFP, and she stated, no, it was, I believe, an ask for quotes. So change asked to an ask.
Yep.
And on 108, after Town Administrator Bolton.
Yep.
I think is, should be F. And I have nothing till 5:19. I think I got tired.
I have 5:05.
Hey, Janice, line 311. Just happened to notice it. GREG, not,
Ah, thank you.
not a big deal
Line 311, Greg Smith is 1G.
at the end.
Gotta go back to 14 and do the same then. What was it, 5, what?
5:19. I got, I believe Chair Matthews responded that she is not reluctant to have an official committee.
Yeah, thank you. I thought that one too.
Mm-hmm.
all I have.
505, if you could change the period after to it, period, change it to it, comma. Or semicolon, whichever is appropriate grammatically. And 548. Right side of Quaker Street Cemetery, period, based on the pictures, second sentence, so break that into two. Cemetery, period, based on would be a second sentence. 603. Chief Rourke is transitioning, retiring from being a full-time firefighter and chief to just being a part-time chief. So he's not a full-time chief currently.
Yep.
Right.
He's a
So it's
full-time firefighter.
firefighter and part-time chief to
Right.
being part-time chief?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, anything else?
I think he's actually interim chief, right? Was it?
No, we
He wasn't
gave him the
official.
full one, I think back in May,
Okay.
but we didn't have a start date. So, now that we've got all that squared away, his retirement,
Halfway to come back.
I know, hope he's having a good time. All right, I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes of July 22nd, 2024 as amended. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor say yes or yay.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Motion passes 3-0. And last, certainly not least, it's July 26th.
That's the longest ones we got.
Yep. I don't necessarily have any changes, but I just thought it might be worth noting that we should state that the meeting was necessary because there were additional changes requested after our 7/22 meeting.
So you want to put on 27, the met with, you can put the board met with Fire Chief Mark Rourke. And what did you just
To
say?
review his additional requests.
Requests. And to finalize?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because in the prior meeting, we had said we
Yeah.
would just sign it, if
Yeah.
he was okay with
No.
it, we would sign it offline. We made a motion and did that, but he had additional things, so we had to get back together.
Mm-hmm. True.
Okay. All right, so I'd like to make a motion to accept the July 26, 2024 minutes as amended. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say yes or yay.
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Passes 3-0.
Before we go down the road that's not on my list, Dave's got the signature headed down there for the swearing in. The second thing is, so the compressor is in, obviously, and Carol's estimate is $200 different than it was before, because there's some additional things, or price went up, so it's $71,73.58. You gave me up to $7,000.
71.50.
$73.58. You gave us, you originally was up to $7,000. He's repriced, and it's gone up the $173.58. Because when we looked at that quote, it was expiring like the next day. So I know you took it out of the 200, could you take the $200 out of the ARPA funds as well? Because that's where you took the compressor as well as, as his, the up to 7,000 before. So we're at 71,73.58.
So really, we're just needing to motion the additional 173.58.
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'd like to make a motion that we authorize an additional $173.58, which would bring the total from $7,000 to $7,173.58 out of the ARPA funds for compressor electrical work at the safety complex.
Second?
Okay, any further discussion?
You said come out of ARPA funds? Okay,
did.
I didn't write fast enough.
Yep. All those in favor say yes or yea? Yes?
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Motion passes 3-0-0.
I'm gonna skip down, I just, put the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items you've already talked about. That was on your agenda tonight. The legal bills for Mitchell, I emailed to you earlier, that's for July.
Yeah, I just wondered about the largest amount on there was for the lorry list.
Mm-hmm, that's
Is that
still
an
being,
ongoing thing? How long do we think that's gonna, is it? no
I don't
end in
know,
sight?
they appealed it, that's why she's
Is that
back
why it
at
is?
it. Only one did, that's why if the bill's broken down to 2, but I added them together.
Right.
If you look at the breakdown, when you get when she cuts the check,
Okay,
they'll both be in there. But until that settles or they stop appealing,
okay.
it's
I
gonna
wasn't aware of the
unfortunately be
appeal.
that
If I
way.
was, it didn't register with me.
Yeah, it's
so I-
gonna be that way.
Okay.
I think I forwarded you what I called the sole source letter
Yeah,
from
and
the
that's
chief.
SOLE.
Well, I was thinking of soul searching, I guess. Sorry, thank
It's
you.
okay. Just didn't want somebody to go, what the heck are
So
they
the
talking about?
Yeah, sorry.
Part of the cemetery committee?
Yeah.
Somebody's singing. East Road, the non-meeting with council, do you want to schedule that? There's 2 dates available. 19 or 28, they're both off nights because we want it separate.
Yeah.
19 is next Monday. 28 is the following, I don't remember what day of the week that is.
Depending on the time, I could do it possibly next Monday, but I have to be in Concord at 5. And I probably won't get back before 7:30.
I was just gonna say,
So
do
that's,
you want to do the 28th as a Wednesday?
I can do the 28th.
What is this one for?
That was the one with, we were gonna get together with, because I gotta run it by them Wednesday, is the one with council, with us and conservation. That's a Wednesday, the 28th.
Do the 28th?
I think I can.
Pretty sure I can.
Okay, so we'll stick with the 28th, and I'll send out to remind conservation tomorrow night and Wednesday night. They don't have a full group on Wednesday night either. So on Thursday night, Danny Jean Stewart volunteered to be one of the representatives for the Southern New Hampshire Planning Commission. I currently am on the executive board, and my term expires the end of this year. So, in speaking with, she had emailed me, and she asked me if there was orientation. So, Southern New Hampshire Planning provided I got it here, a kind of what to expect. You guys appointed me you have 1 executive member and you have 1 commission member. I get on the executive committee just because the town needed representation to know what was going on. So, there's a roles commissions that was forwarded. There's also being a training handbook that's put together. The thought was she would take the commissioner role, get her feet wet a little bit, and then I would move off, yeah.
Move
But
off completely or just move off of the leadership?
it depends on when she's ready to,
Okay.
but you can only have 1 executive board member, each
Right.
community has 1.
No, but I didn't know if you would
Yeah.
take just the commissioner role at that point.
I don't know,
I'll have to decide today.
yeah, so, I don't know if you, mine is the end of the year, I believe. There's no date on here, it just says expires 2024. It was done in October of 2020, so I'm thinking it's fall. The original letter that was sent to Southern Hampshire Planning. But the planning board did recommend that Danny Jean be a representative. So, they actually meet the 4th Tuesday of the month, and then my meeting is the first Thursday of the month at 7:30 in the morning. I don't know what time hers is, I think hers is lunchtime, 11:30. So the planning board did make a recommendation to the selectmen, Janice was there, to recommend Danny Jean be the Southern New Hampshire Representative Commission, and it's a 4-year term.
So ever since I've been on this board, we've had the vacancy. We get 2 representatives.
You
And we get 1 alternate. We've only had the one for as long as I've known. And so I went, at the planning board, asked them if they would like to nominate someone else, because I thought it might be best to come from their group before anyone else. And Danny Jean immediately volunteered.
Yeah.
So they then did formally vote on it, and they want to appoint her as the second full representative. So I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Danny Jean Stewart as a commissioner to SNHPC for a 4-year term. I don't know if you just want to put it through the end of the calendar year.
It must be the fall they do it, because,
Okay.
yeah, because in 2020, the board sent a letter for me in October with the 4-year expiration,
October
because I think their annual meeting,
2028.
yeah.
According to their rules and regulations.
Yep. Would anyone like to second that?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, yes or yay?
Yes.
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain?
I asked about a swearing-in, and they don't do it,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Yeah, I wouldn't think it'd be something we'd swear in
No.
for.
No, because you're a representative. Just wanted to remind you,
And just
oh, sorry.
put a call out for if anybody else just happens to be interested in volunteering as an alternate. We still have one
Yeah.
space available for
Yeah,
that.
they,
and that is-
and they meet the,
It's not a
hang on.
town committee, it's Southern New Hampshire.
they have 12
Planning.
monthly meetings at Southern New Hampshire Planning on 438 Dubuque Street, 11:30 on the 4th Tuesday of every month.
Okay.
Just a reminder, the police awards are Wednesday night at the middle school at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, I checked in with the police chief earlier about the, how the officers were doing, and I notified him I'm not going to be able to attend.
Okay, well, I posted it
Yeah,
just to be
I
on the
just let
safe
you
side.
guys
Yep,
know I'm not gonna be able to.
okay.
After all, I got my schedule this morning and it won't allow me.
Not happening? Okay. Well, I think I'm gonna go over for a while. I gotta come back over here for conservation, so. There is one on here. I believe, I sent it to the board members in regards to a tax bill. So I think the confusion was, and it's not a fault of anybody, is we all get together and we fold tax bills. So there's a gentleman with a junior and there's a gentleman with a third. And I think what happened is we put in, because he called her just now and said he got her tax bill.
Ah.
So she asked about the waiving, and I said, that's nothing that myself or Monique can do. But she put her letter in writing to the board, that it went to her brother. And the amount of, the interest is basically,
$44.50.
there we go, I knew I was looking for it. Yeah, $44.51. It's got the right address on it. I don't know if just sorting, folding, put the 3 last names together. Didn't look at junior or the third.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion that we waive the interest charges of $44.51 related to invoice number 2024 PO1 057106, which is for property tax
Is it
106-42. Is there a second?
Second.
Got 2 of them, so.
There you go.
All in favor, say yes or yea?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, that passes 3-0.
You guys, did you get the trustee legal opinion second time that I sent it?
Yes, I
Okay.
did get it the second time, I did not get it the first
Yes,
time
no, I
because
understood
that.
that.
Was
Are we all done with the IT?
no,
Okay.
I totally dropped the ball on that until I got David's stuff and I was gonna compile it with
Yeah.
mine, and I forgot totally about it, and I've not done anything, so I owe Doug a call.
Okay. That's
I
fine.
will get that done.
I know.
My fault and my apologies.
The 2020 board zoning ordinance is cleaned up, updated. Maureen signed off on it. I scanned it, posted it. It's up. Took 2 weekends to do it, but it was up.
Job.
Yeah, I just about lost my
Thank you very
eyesight.
much.
But it's all done, cleaned up, margins, pretty. I already got an email back from Sean, so it looks nice, so.
Oh, good.
Engineering, again, Janice, if you would do that, that would work out.
I'll make a note. I already did make a note.
Yeah, and then, on the 26th, do you want to schedule Ilsley's Ice Cream?
I would like to.
Okay, 26 work, okay. Award the legal I put on the 26th, and then the investment policy, ARPA, and the second quarter review would be the 26th as well with Beth.
Yep, and as well as traffic ordinance.
Well, the traffic ordinance, I was gonna wait, because I don't know if he's here, that's why I said we'd have to get together.
Okay. Oh,
I'll
I'm
let
sorry.
you guys know that one. Building permit, things are going well, it's just, right now, this week, Mary Ann's on vacation, so it's gonna be a little hectic. But we're making it work.
Yeah, I think we haven't gotten one in like 2 or 3 weeks, correct?
Say that again?
2 or 3 weeks, we haven't received an update, is that correct?
No,
No, it's not correct, or no, we haven't received one?
you are correct, and it's been at least that long.
Okay, I
I
just wanted to
don't
make sure I
remember
hadn't
how
missed
long it
them.
was, yeah. I don't know how long it's been, but it has been a couple, 3 weeks.
Last I talked to Mary Ann, they're up to date, so.
Oh, okay, so I just had to get it from one of them. So Steve, Bob, okay. I'm hoping now that the ZBA is done, the zoning ordinance is done, I'm gonna finish the Colburn, the collective bargaining. Those are the two are on the, my next hit list. Vendor. The Sulhoit complaint, they have gone out and done a site visit, the new gentleman. And Concord Stage, I just got the owner for, he came in with the contact information for the cell tower company.
Okay.
So I have to forward that on. There's nothing changed on the bottom 3. The RFP, I think they're gonna discuss that on, at Conservation, they're gonna discuss that on, it's on their agenda for, I believe, Wednesday night.
Yep.
The Cable Committee, I think I sent you all an email, Doug and I talked after tonight, they're gonna try to have a meeting now that there's 4 of them. And then they'd like to schedule a joint meeting with us to go over that 97 policies and handbook, and they're gonna kind of, the idea was they're gonna meet first to kind of brainstorm and then come with us, instead of us looking at each other like what we're gonna do. So they wanted to have their own meeting first, and then we'll have a joint meeting. We will have lawn care. I have waiting on Parks and Rec. They've got some changes they'd like to make to the lawn care to include things that are not included now. And that will go out to bid. We still have to do those 3 that are still there. IT,
I still have the action to get you the first draft of those. Wasn't too, as I mentioned, I think last time I wasn't too hot on spending time on them when we hadn't even got the legal services done yet, so.
yeah, yep, no, I get it. Right to know, the one on the right to know at the bottom, I did get information back from the Forester on the 2 invoices from 19, so I'll give that to Jack. The only other thing is there was he stood there, public comment, and asked for, and I'll have to go back and get the exact wording about anything, drawing a blank.
I think it had to do with the ZBA.
Yeah, it had to do with that. So I don't know the exact wording, but the first one's been handled. And I don't think I have anything more. There's cable. I did also forward you, late this afternoon, did you see the complaint on John Connor Road?
Yeah.
Okay, that probably didn't come out as nice as these did. These are pictures that I've got. If you guys, there was some pictures and it had to do with some damage, and there's photos, and I guess the damage occurred in 15, 16, and 24, and the resident put a letter that he reached out to us in 16, and then there was pictures for 15. another 16 pictures and 24. I did provide Jason with one as well. I'll have to have Jason look at it. But I just wanted you guys all to know.
Yeah, I appreciate all the background that he's given us. It's very helpful.
Yes. Cable TV. We are going to advertise for Indeed. We've gotten just one. Actually, I had 2 inquiries. One, she makes more than we offer right now. Like a lot more than we offer, so I didn't want to give her any false hope. You know, it's default budget. And then we have one that's got a sports medicine biology degree. Hasn't graduated from college yet. That's it. So we were gonna put it in Indeed. Beth said there's a fee for Indeed, but I thought if we ran it for a few days to see what, if anything, we got from it. It is on the NHMA website. I haven't taken it down yet.
And you also created a space on our front page for all the job applicants.
We did.
So thanks for doing that.
And I put a notice on the front page about a job opening. I was trying to, and I will, did you guys get the forwarding for the governance? Now they've changed your portal. You guys can sign up for your stuff now?
Yeah, I did get signed up.
There's a method of how to do the sign on and get your own, but then you can directly do it. I did sign up, the 2 of you, for the webinar, but.
Yeah, I signed up for the Governance Academy.
Okay, yeah, the governance is like every Wednesday for a while, 7 weeks or something.
For
Yeah.
7 weeks.
I also gave you a forwarded, I think I included you in the copy of the South Sugar Hill odor.
Yes.
Haven't heard back from anybody.
Okay.
Unless I missed something.
I had a couple things on here. The cemetery boundary concern. We were talking about whether.
I know, I
the
can't get anybody to call me back, though.
Subdivision might be able to be utilized as a boundary line survey.
Yeah, well, I know who to call and left a message, but I don't have, I'm gonna still try.
And then we
Because
have-
I think that can't be solved until we do that.
And then, our last meeting, Ricky came and,
Yeah,
talked about RSA 154
One.
1B,
yes.
being part of the town vote to dissolve the
I did not
bylaws.
do any more research on that. I can put it on my list.
Please. So
Okay.
I guess we need to know, does A or B apply?
154-1
B, A or B. He says B was part of the town vote,
town vote.
Which it was,
was.
from what he sent us. yeah.
from what he sent us, yeah.
Okay.
So is it either or?
I didn't get anything from him.
I don't think it's either or. I think it's A or B by vote.
Okay.
Fire chief appointed by the local governing body, wait a minute. All towns and city fire departments and fire departments and village districts or precincts organized pursuant to RSA 52-1 IA shall be organized according to one of the following forms chosen by vote of the legislative body. So then you have A and B, and from what Ricky sent us, B was on there. We just gotta verify.
We need to resend you Ricky's email.
Yeah, I didn't.
And we talked last time about tax deeded properties. We said we wanted to get a list of the properties, the outstanding taxes due, and the RSAs.
You'll have that for the
how it
26th,
works.
yeah.
Okay. And we wanted that before we decided to go sealed bid or auction.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I just wanted to get the 24 ordinance out of my hair.
Yep.
I spent most of my time doing that.
And this isn't yours, so I would probably lump it better under correspondence or other. We received notification from the town clerk, Maureen Bilodeau, that the supervisors of the checklist have appointed a new moderator, Daniel
Oh.
Landell,
Okay.
and she was going to swear him in, so just wanted to put on record, because I haven't seen anything else published from the supervisors. It was just from Maureen to us. So, and this is due to the vacancy created by John Morton
Yep, leaving.
moving out of town, yeah.
Mhm. Oh, thank you. My phone just buzzed.
I just forwarded
Oh, you
that
did?
to her.
Okay.
Yeah, I already got it.
I copied you on it. Can, can we start getting the financial reports again? I don't think I've gotten one since May.
Really?
May,
Okay.
maybe April.
Yep.
Now that you say that, I don't think I have either,
Yeah.
so I don't think it's just you.
Okay.
Did you see the NHMA, the 8/7 NHMA news link? They had a little right-to-know document, the changes that are coming through. It
No, I
looks,
missed
looks like it's mostly to do with, there can be charges for excessive documents now. I think that's pretty much the biggest thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was driven by
think-
Nashua.
Yeah, I think it's after 250 documents or something, but,
Well, I hope we don't get to anything close to that.
yeah, I printed it out if you want that.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
But yeah, it was in, there was a link in that email. And that's all I have.
Nothing?
Nothing from me.
All right. Going once, going twice?
Oh, other than the,
Well, I think we've already set the agenda, right? So we're.
Pretty much, yeah, it's pretty full, actually. Can I just run it by you, though? Oh, I'm sorry, did you have something else?
oh, I just,
He was gonna make a motion to adjourn.
no, actually, I was gonna, just,
I'm sorry.
no, that's all right. Park had, there were a couple of events that happened. The movie night was a success. Everybody enjoyed that.
And I can't believe it didn't rain.
And
It was amazing.
so, a big thanks to, shout out to everybody that was involved in putting that together.
Yeah.
And also, there was a group of volunteers that went over to the Bolton playground and cleaned up, did a lot of weeding and everything. So,
And Jason sent someone out, I asked if he could send someone out to pick up some of the brush we cut last week, so he did that during the week.
Good. It's amazing.
Did they
what
really,
happened.
can I just ask, did they really put up a screen? Is it like an inflatable screen? Like for the movie?
oh, yeah, it was I didn't go, but yes, it was a portable screen and a sound system. They had I believe they had a small generator there just in case. But it all worked.
Wow, that's cool. Just a sheet on the building or something? Just checking. So for the 26th, I have call to order, pledge allegiance, public comment. I don't have anything from the department and committee item. I have Ilsley's, not necessarily in this order. Review the investment policy, second quarter financials and ARPA. Award the legal bids, award the headstones, cemetery advisory committee, manifest minutes, administrative report, correspondence, set 9/9 agenda, adjournment. Did I miss anything? Sorry, I went fast.
Did we get the SNH planning commission seat?
What'd you say?
The SNH planning commission seat? We were gonna formally appoint her, or did we already do that tonight?
I already did
We
that
did that
tonight. Okay.
That's why we have people to keep us straight. Right? Alright. That's all I have. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Motion to adjourn?
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Was there a
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Have a great night, everybody.
Yeah, 1 second.
Thank you all for staying to the end.
And